It's lively, lively time. That is just so weird, though, what I am looking at here.
What are you looking at?
My audio seems to be a bit on the lower end, and the audio wave seems to be down for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, let's crank that just a little bit and see what that... Nope, that doesn't help at all. That's weird. Okay. Oh, fine. Fuck you. Whatever works. Okay.
You listening to it?
No, I'm not listening to it back. I'm
Okay.
just watching the audio wave.
Ah, is it making pretty colors that make no sense?
No, they make absolute sense to me.
You keep saying that's odd, so figured they must not be making sense, but still pretty, because those things are always pretty colors.
Yeah, well... I don't know. It's one of those things that's ever since I had to rip out all the wires and everything in here and change the way it all works. Since then, nothing's worked correctly. I'm giving serious consideration to reformatting my whole fucking computer and starting over.
Well, if nothing else, at least you'll know it's set up totally right from the ground up.
Once again, it's about the time when I usually buy a new computer anyway, but I don't have the money to buy a new computer. It's been just about 3 years since I built this computer. I usually replace them every 3 years or so, but I don't have the money now because computer components have shot through the roof.
Yeah, it's like trying to buy gold with hay.
What used to cost me, $1,500 to $2,000 is now $2,500 to $4,000.
Isn't that just for the frickin' video card these days?
Yeah, the video card alone is $1,000 nowadays, but
Yeah. Kind of intense.
I just don't have the money currently to do this, so I have to make do, and basically I have to buy a new hard drive, and I can probably afford the hard drive, and I can just start from scratch and rebuild it all back up. But that means I'm also looking at 2 full days of all the resetup of everything, plus the 6 weeks of getting all the software back and currently installed that I currently use. Because you install the ones you use the most, and then you go like, oh, I got to go do this. Oh, shit, I don't have that installed yet. So you got to go install the new software.
Yeah, that's kind of what I found. I was moving from my laptop to my computer here. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I got everything I need in there. No, I don't. I still have my laptop sitting on my desk because I go to reach for something. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not there.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. If, it takes you several months to get a computer working the way you want it to, and just as you get everything perfect, Windows comes along and goes, they say, hey, you know what? You need this update. And guess what? We're going to screw with everything that you've gotten perfectly functioning.
Yep, bettering your customer experience.
That's all they've been doing for the last 3 years is improving your customer experience. Ever since Windows 10.
Don't forget to share your screen with me, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I'm blind.
Yeah, well.
The teenager made me tea today. It turned out to be very yummy tea.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Usually I'm the one who makes tea.
That is weird, though. Why is that level held where it's at?
My level or
I. No. Let's see if that makes a difference there. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. No. Nope, it's still the same. It's peeking out. It's peeking out, but it's no longer giving me. I wonder if it's giving me just. It might be just peeking out just fine, but it's probably not displaying it correctly.
Peeking out, but what?
Well, the audio's peaking. It's hitting its peaks, but it's just seems to be at the wrong spot on the peak. It's just one of those oddball things. And if you haven't worked with audio software, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I've been learning about audio software.
Yeah, well, once you
So
start,
I do understand what you mean by peeking out.
yeah, well, it looks like it's peaking and it's capping. It's almost, but the thing is the cap is not where I expect it to be, and it could also be the fact that I updated my Adobe Audition because of all the grief it was giving me from previous times, and what the hell? I could have sworn I set this. You stupid thing. All right, let's stop that for
I'm
a
pretty
second.
sure there's little gremlins that live inside the machines that go around and muck about with stuff right before show day.
Oh, yeah, probably.
And then on days when everything pretty much works just fine, I'm thinking that the little gremlins were just too tired and didn't really try too hard.
Yeah, well.
I like those days. I think the
it's-
gremlins should, deal with sleep deprivation more often so we get an easier day.
It's the AI messing with us.
Gremlins. Do you think AIs will ever be able to get a hangover?
Fuck, I hope so. They deserve it.
Just thinking about it, I could see AIs having a hangover by processing way too much information and taking a day or so to recover.
Yeah, well,
I could totally see that being a hangover.
the AI deserves a hangover. For all the hangovers it's given me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're having fun. Oops. Okay, that's out of the way. That's done. We're actually live over there on the Tubersvilles. All of that, everything
Awesome.
else seems to be working. It appears like we have a work thing going. Let's see how our sound is. Oops. Okay, that's out of the way. That's done. We're actually live over there on the Tuber. Yeah, it sounds like it's coming through fine on YouTube.
Well, that's a good thing.
Let's see. I've got one brief news article I'll use in my intro because it's something that came through today from what's her name? The thing, man, the thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but my brain just pulled a complete blank and I cannot think of her name to save my life.
Blockade.
Yes, her.
Yeah. She put it in really good terms. I really like the terms she put it in, and we just gotta wander through. So looks like we can now go to some music to carry us through to lifetime.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time.
Most definitely mine.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine.
There we have it. It is showtime. It's another lovely, wonderful day in the great white north. So let's get this show wound up and going.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Cooking up some great WordPress plugin reviews. It's episode 549, and we have plugins for Code Snips, Blackhole Bots, Dobby, Web Snow Schedulr, Geo Maps, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I am John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we have a great show for you today. Before we get started too far down the line, I have something I want to bring right to the top of the page. What we've got here is a notice that came out from Mayanna over at Blogade. And she's trying to give everyone a heads up due to the crap that's hitting over in the in Ukraine and other places, and you hear the fears of all the cyber attacks and everything else coming. Well, what she's trying to do, and this is a really good way, you want to follow the link in the show notes when I get it in there, and go read this little newsletter she put out, simply because what she's trying to warn you about is don't panic when the internet goes crazy. Just make sure you have taken a full backup of your site within the last week or last few days, depending on how often you make updates to it. But you want to have a full backup of your site. The internet may go crazy. It may have some glitches. It may have some problems in it. Don't bother calling your hosting providers if it's going crazy, because they already know, and they're busy as hell right now. One more phone call isn't going to help them, and one more person screaming at them that your website's inaccessible isn't going to help change anything. You got to be prepared for this, and the best way to be prepared is to have a backup of your website on your local computer. Download that backup. Don't just back it up and leave it uploaded to your server. Download it to your computer. And make sure that you've gone through and increased the security on your site. Secure your phone, secure your website, everything. Increase your password security, all of that to help eliminate and alleviate the problem. I thought I'd bring that one right off to the top of the page right now, simply because it's very important considering the state of affairs that started this last week.
And I do think that people can look forward to at least a ripple effect, but probably nothing too big over here where we are, but always make sure you have a backup.
Well, it depends on where the servers are located and what data center you have your servers are in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Because a lot of this is continued. You got to remember, my servers are located over in Ontario, and I have one server located in the States. So, and then people have servers located all over the globe, and depending on where that data center is to, what else is in that data center. You have no idea how many other companies or what companies you're sharing a data center with. So
this is true. I hadn't really thought about from that aspect. I was just thinking about the idea of, ripple effects. They do happen.
They do happen. They do happen. Other than that, well, before we go too much further, don't forget you do want to hang around for the end of the show for the Q&A segment with Amber. And for those of you listening on the podcast, you got to remember, you got to go tune in over at YouTube to catch the entire Q&A segment with Amber. With all of that being said, it is time for me.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
And this is number 10 of 52 episodes for 2022. So I remember last week I was talking about how the weather was kind of getting nicer, looking forward to going outside. Then I woke up this morning, there's snow all over the place again. So
why is everyone telling me it snowed today? It didn't snow here.
Oh, it sure did here. There's a nice pile of snow outside that my daughter is very excited about. She even did the happy squeal. Very cute, but it's also very cold. Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't have said anything. But
not a flake out there for me. I heard somebody else tell me they live at the other side of Victoria, and they're talking to me and said, "Yeah, it snowed." I was like, "What? I didn't see any snow today." I know it was cold. It did get actually that cold out there, though.
Oh, we got the snow. And I was thinking about it, and I realized, I know about the fall spring thing, and yet I still kind of fell for it. I felt the spring coming on. I knew it was a fall spring, but I still got my hopes up. I just want to mention to everyone, even though it is a fall spring that we just went through, fall spring is still a good thing, because fall spring means that real spring is coming and then summer is coming.
Yep.
And I also wanted to say, I want to remind everyone, do remember to take some time away from all the media, especially after these past few weeks. These past few weeks have been very heavy. So take some time, spend some time with your family and friends. Go pull out those dusty old board games and hang out.
Absolutely.
Hi, Hembian.
How's it going? All right. Well, I think that's time for us to wander on over into the news. The real news, the most important news, the stuff that is important to you in the WordPress world.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with Jono.
Nope. With Amber. I really gotta make an effort to change that.
Eventually.
Yeah, sooner or later.
So, most important thing I find is the WordPress vulnerability report. This is for February 23rd, 2022. There is a list of plugins that you'll want to check out. They are at the point right now where there is no known fix, so you want to deactivate them, but they aren't saying deactivate and delete immediately, so there may still be a fix coming down the pike.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a pretty decent list. I only listed off like half of them in my notes here. But the ones I listed off were Persian WooCommerce, Hub 2 Word, SEO 301 Meta, WP Voting Contest, Pet Finder Listings. So that's all I listed off, but that still gives you a pretty decent idea of the amount that are here today.
Yep. There's always a fair amount. There's always a fair amount.
Not always. We've had shows where there hasn't been a single one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they make up for it with their next report.
This is true. So do pay attention. Compare your plugin list to this plugin list. Double check and move from there. The next one we have here is Updraft Plus 1.22.3 patches severe vulnerability through forced security updates from WordPress.org. So this plugin, the way it works generally is it allows users to back up to various cloud providers. Unfortunately, there was a security vulnerability that was allowing logged in users to download the site, or that allowed the users to log in or to download the site's latest backups. The vulnerability has been patched, so if you use this, do make sure to update that.
Excellent.
And next up is WordFest has come back. The WordFest Life is going to be hosted free for a 24-hour festival of WordPress on March 4th.
What the hell is a WordFest Live?
It is the online version of the Word thing.
WordCamp?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The online version.
Oh, okay.
But there isn't just online this year like there was last year. This year they are also having workshops and socials. So there will be a total of 60 sessions. Definitely worth giving it a check out.
Oh, good. For those of you that are interested in it. I found WordCamps pretty much died in my books about 5 years ago. They no longer became very relevant.
Yeah, I've looked into them for myself, and it doesn't seem like I'd be learning the right kind of information at those things.
Yeah,
Not for me.
You can get some advanced knowledge of things that are coming down the pike and other stuff from them, but I remember when WordCamps were first started, they were so very useful. In fact, I spoke at 3 or 4 WordCamps,
cool.
presenting my training and other information I had at the time back when I was at the top of my game in WordPress. But no, it started dying out, unfortunately. But occasionally you get bits and pieces of other useful information out of them.
All right, PickList is shutting down. So if anybody out there uses PickList, from what I understand, it is a development framework that has helped people build things faster with WordPress since 2012. As of this week, though, they are shutting down. If you use PickList, the documentation has been archived on GitHub pages, so you will still be able to go there for any information you need. So if you use PickList, check out the article for more in-depth information.
Time to change tools and retool your brain. I'm working on that one right now, retooling my brain for all the stuff that's changed.
It seems like it's a never-ending process, really.
It is a never-ending process, and if you fall behind on it, it's really hard to catch up. The only way to do it is just wipe out everything you've done and start over from scratch.
Yep. Gutenberg 12.6 enhances transforming block, adds read more and post author bio blocks, and enables social icon labels. So this is actually pretty awesome news because it seems like Gutenberg has finally gotten itself fairly stable in its software. So they're starting to work on the tinier things, it seems.
Cool.
It's good news for those who use Gutenberg. They're getting more stable. Software is firming up finally.
Very cool.
WordPress 5.9.1 maintenance release. So WordPress had a update just this past week. It was just a basic maintenance release.
Yeah, fixing all the bugs they created when they released 5.9.
Yeah.
That's basically this is what I've always done when I'm updating to a major version of WordPress is you always wait for the 0.1 release, which usually comes out between 2 and 5 weeks later. To fix all the bugs that they introduced in the major release. And there were a few bugs. I heard about a couple here and there. You know, this editor wasn't working correctly, or this item didn't work correctly now, or this item changed somehow. And yeah, so at any rate, it is out, and they did repair all the bugs. 6 is coming.
I guess waiting for this particular update is about how long you want to wait for, how long you want to wait after the big release. Yeah.
Yeah, after the big release, wait for the 0.1 release, because the
All
0.1 release always fixes all the bugs, and you really don't need to update unless there's something super major important. And there's very rarely is there something majorly important in a major release update. Sometimes there
it's
is,
just prettier.
Sometimes it's prettier. It's been improving your customer experience some way, fashion, or form, and you know, the usual. But they almost always introduce a bunch of little minor bugs in the process of doing that, and they're not noticed until it goes full live, and when tens of thousands of people start using it and start complaining.
Yeah.
And that's when they go, oh, well, we missed that. Okay, we'll fix that. And they go through and they fix it all up. And anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks later, they release a point version. Because 5.9 was only released like 3 weeks ago.
Something like that, yeah.
3, maybe 4 weeks. So it's right within the release schedule for a point release.
Last one for WordPress today is Amazon drops Elasticsearch from product names to settle trademark infringement lawsuit with Elastic.
Yeah.
I actually remember reading about this a while ago, and I was reading how the two were getting kind of cranky with one another.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I had honestly completely forgotten about this until I came across this article last night. I think really all this actually means for users is that the name Elasticsearch isn't going to be there anymore, except for from Elastic themselves.
Yep, that's pretty much what it means.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other changes, but I still wanted to bring this to the fore in case anybody else like me had been following it, then kind of lost track of it for a while. Well, here's the result.
All right, well, you got a few extra articles here. Just sort of skim a couple of the premium ones in there.
Oh yeah, a few extra articles. Like I brought a few articles about the current DDoS attacks and malware issues that are going around, and who gets to decide if AI is alive. I thought this is kind of a cool article I wanted to bring forth. And a couple of other things about algorithms and ransomware.
Yep.
So go and check it out.
Alrighty, well, this is the point where we like to stop for a few minutes and recognize those that support the show with their time, talent, or treasure. So off we go.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
Absolutely. Donate to the show. Support the show. If you get some value out of it, this is a value for value show. If you get any value out of it, please support us back with some value. Either that value can be time, talent, or treasure. And we like to start off by acknowledging those that supply us with the artwork or their time and talent, because it takes time and talent to create artwork for us. And we really greatly appreciate it.
This is an awesome picture.
Yes, this is a great one. It's the WP Plugins A to Z cookbook. That's what it should have said underneath. It should have said cookbook. That's the only thing that was missing. I mean, it gives you the impression of cooking with the bread and the grains and the other stuff around it, which I thought was pretty cool. I like the tones and everything else that goes with it. It's a really cool one. And this came to us from Greg's Graphics. So thank you, Greg. We greatly appreciate you supporting the show with your artwork. You know, week after week, you keep coming in. Eventually, we'll have other artists that will join the fray. We get one here and there that joins the fray. And bit by bit. But, yeah, this one's kind of cool. I do like that. But, yeah, it should say WP Plugins A to Z Cookbook.
You know, I can't help but think that this cookbook could belong to an amazing baker, or it could also belong to a mad scientist.
Yeah, well, a little of both. A little of both when you're dealing with the WordPress world. So at any rate,
Exactly.
thanks a lot. And if you would like to support us with some artwork, you can go on over to WP A to Z.com/artwork, where you can submit your artwork to the show. And not too hard to do. You just go in, you create an account. You can download the logos right there. I know last week I said they were all AI Illustrator logos, but it turns out I was wrong. They're actually PNG file formats, which are not super high quality, but they'll work for the most part. If you send me an email, I'll be happy to send you the John Overall logo in AI, but unfortunately, the WP logo as it currently was created by a user for us about 5-6 years ago. And he didn't send me an AI file. All he sent me was PNG files for it. So, but I can't remember who it was now. He's been given credit way back when, and I should bring his name back forward and thank him from time to time for the logo, because I really like it. It was much better than the one I designed myself. You can see the change in logos. All you gotta do is go back to episode about 200 or so, and you can see the old logo and then see the new logo as it changed. So anyway, I can get you that. I can get you the John Overall one and AI file, but the current version of the WP logo is in a PNG format. All right. We also like to take a few moments and thank those that have supported us with some treasure. And that's not what I wanted to do. Didn't want to go full screen on it. Wanted to exit out of that. There we go.
It was eager to show off the picture.
It was eager to show off the picture. Okay, and at any rate, what we've got, acknowledge those that support us with some treasure. And we don't have anyone coming in at the executive level. Hopefully that'll happen one day. You get a full-blown executive producer credit that you can use anywhere credits are good, and you get a note read out in the show. Other than that, we've got a few small subscribers out there that, kick us a few bucks here and there, $5-10 here and there, which is kind of nice. And we really greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate that. It doesn't put any money in our pocket, but it does show that you get some value out of this show and therefore give us some value back. The final one is, of course, time. If you have extra time and you want to work on a website, the WP plugin site can always use additional work or tweaks or help or support with it. We had Jess help us clean up the art gallery and get the art gallery all done. We've had Charlie help us out with contests for many, many months. There's lots of little things that we can never get to because, well, we still got to make a living work, and this show is actually a sideline for us, just something we enjoy doing. So at any rate, if you'd like to help this show out, you can reach out through the contact page on the website, or reach out directly to me at john@wppro.ca. And if you're so inclined to send something physical, there's an there's a full-blown snail mail address in the show notes that you can send that stuff to. All right, it is time now for the main event. Off we go into the depths of plugin depravity. Okay, we still have the ClassicPress options section of the site or of the show, but we don't have anything from ClassicPress because I'm not working in ClassicPress these days, and I don't have time for multiple platforms anymore. I've got so many other things on my plate. But if you happen to be a ClassicPress user and you do show up to the show and listen to us and you want to hear more about ClassicPress, hey, that's a wonderful way you can support the show, is send us information about ClassicPress, what they're doing, how things are going, and we will get it in here and share it out with everyone else. As far as WordPress plugins go, we do have those, and I have a couple of good ones this week. First one I have for you right out the bat is called Code Snippets. Now, I'd heard about this plugin in the past, and I just never had a reason to use it. Well, this last week, I had a reason to suddenly use it when I just didn't feel like going in and editing up the functions file for the theme. And this is actually a very useful tool if you think you're going to add some code that might change if you add a functions file, because, of course, what this plugin does for you is it allows you to create code snippets, put them into the website. It automatically inserts them into the WordPress functions read loop. And what we had to do was, for a client of mine, we needed to add some specific stuff, some new menu stuff to the admin area of the site. And the code was given to me, and it's like, okay, well, I put it into this plugin, and you can tell it where to use the code. Either use it only in the admin area, the front end area, the admin and front end area. And you can also use JavaScript, PHP script, all the different code languages, HTML, all of that for these little snippets. And it works very, very well.
Brilliant.
The nice thing about this also is if you decide to change themes, all your code is stored in the database. It's not stored in the functions file. So you can rip out the theme without the fear of, oh my God, that little snippet of code, where was that in the functions file? So this is a very useful tool to add to your site when you're adding on things that, need to stay the same even if the theme changes later down the road. At any rate, really great plugin. It's called Code Snippets, and I gave it a 5 dragon rating.
I didn't hear the dragon. Did it play?
Yeah, it played. Play it again.
Huh, I can't hear it. That's weird. I was hearing the sounds fine before.
You hear this?
Squirrel!
Yeah, I can hear that one.
You hear the squirrel, but you don't hear the dragon. Well, squirrel ate the dragon.
That's weird.
I guess
Apparently.
I guess the squirrel ate the dragon.
Well, I think that particular plugin is brilliant. I will definitely be keeping that one in my I have this little folder with plugins that can be useful in just about any situation.
Yep.
So my own little toolbox, if you will. I'm going to be adding that one for sure. First one I have for everyone today is Interactive Geo Maps. This is actually a pretty awesome plugin. The fella who designed it, his name is Carlos. I was actually kind enough to donate this, one of his pro plans, for our next competition. And we were able to get in there and play around with his pro version. We also have an interview with him that will be coming up this next week. This is just a really fun one. I sat there for way longer than I needed to, creating maps of all different kinds. You can create single country map, you can create whole world map, you can choose a different kind of map for each thing. You can make the map be lying down, upside down. You can make it like how you see it on there. It's loads of fun. With the free version, you can not only can you choose different kinds of maps, but you can also choose if you have the click action where you click on it and it goes even closer to wherever you put I want to call it a peg, but I don't think that's actually what they're called. The little dot things with addresses.
Pen. Marker.
So the free version, pardon?
Pen, marker.
Marker, that's the word. So the free version takes care of you pretty good. The pro version doesn't just take care of you, it just makes it absolutely amazing to use. I definitely recommend this if you are wanting to create a map, even if the map is for something as simple as placing your various addresses for your company, or in my case, I actually laid down a path of a travel map, just for the heck of it, on my play site. You can do all kinds of things with this map thing, and I rate it at 5 dragons.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool one. I went and played with it a bit before I did the interview with Carlos. It's a really great interview with Carlos. He's from Portugal, and he's been developing this plugin for a while, and it's a really nice plugin. So you'll want to check out the interview, which will be released next week.
Yeah, it was definitely well done plugin.
Okay. All right, the next one I've got for you, I'm pretty sure Amber brought this one sometime in the past, but I decided to bring it back again anyway because I decided to play with it. It's called Blackhole for Bad Bots. And this plugin works very well for the most part. You got to remember, the one thing you got to do with it, though, is you have to go add a snippet of code to your robots.txt file. Don't put it in the htaccess file, because I for some reason my brain wasn't working when I went to do it. And I tried sticking the code in the htaccess file, and of course it crashed my whole site. And I was like, wait a minute, pull the code out. site works. Put it back, it's broken. It's like, no. And finally my brain went, oh shit, I'm trying to stick the code into the wrong bloody file. It does a really great job of banishing black bots with a one-strike policy. Once they fail, they're failed. They're gone. They can't bot you anymore. You can create a list of whitelisted bots. The other cool thing is it'll whitelist special IP addresses too if you want to do that. There was one thing. What was it? My brain had it, and then I started talking, and it went sideways. Oh, the hidden trigger. How it works is it puts a hidden trigger in your code that is only seen by bots. Humans will never see it and follow the link. The bots will follow that link because that's what bots do. They follow all the links they find. They don't care if it says no follow or not. They just go ahead and follow along and get themselves banned. And to make sure it's working, all you got to do is install it, activate it, put the code in your site, go check the source code for your web page and see if the trigger link is there, and boom, you're done. Very excellent plugin. Doesn't take very much to set up. You know, it does take a minute or two to go edit your robots text file. And if you don't know how to do that, you can always download the plugin for robots text. There's a plugin to make it so it's easy to edit. At any rate, a really great plugin. Check it out, Blackhole for bad bots, and I gave it a 5 dragon rating. Roar.
Yeah, I remember when I brought this before. I really like this. The creator for this plugin, he has some really awesome other plugins that work great in tandem too.
Yep.
Next up is MySchedulr. I wanted to pronounce it different because schedule's spelt wrong, but it is MySchedulr. This is a third-party plugin with a pretty decent free version, or pretty decent activity. It seems to be free. I didn't see anywhere where it kept telling me, get pro. So it's used to create a schedule for your clients to either check your availability in general or to book an appointment with you. You do have to go to these guys' website, so it's MySchedulr website. You have to create an account, which is free, and then you go through the steps. They make it really easy for you. They set it up so that you just fill in your information and they create everything. And then what you do is you go back to your site and you create a menu with the link that they provide you in your account, and then you add that menu to whatever page, and voila. It's actually genius in how easy they made this. You create a menu and then add the menu to your page, and you have an entire schedule available where people can book things with you or at least check out your availability. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I don't usually like third parties, but they actually do pretty well in this one.
Yep.
And I rate it at 4 dragons.
Very cool. Okay, the final one I've got for you is another one that has been on the show previously, and it's Dobby, the elf helper, the admin elf
Dobby
helper.
works so well.
It actually does. I encountered this on a website recently, and I was doing something, and it's like, oh, what? And it's like, oh, fuck, this is Dobby. Oh, I vaguely remember that. Well, let's check it out and see how it works. Besides, it'll give me a nice, easy plugin to pop into the site and have for the show. It's really kind of cool. Of course, what it does is all those admin notifications you have to deal with in your back end, which are often cluttering up crap. It collects them all, sticks them in a little wind-up window with a little icon at the top that says Dobby's Notes or something similar. You click on it, it expands it, and you can see all the notes. You can unexpand it, and they hide them all away again. Kind of a nice, simple way to clean up your back end a little bit. Useful little plugin. Go check it out if you're seeing too many admin notices and you want to clean them all up and just hide them away and not look at them, like most of us don't look at them anyway. At any rate, go check this one out. It is Dobby, and I give it a 5 dragon rating. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I wasn't sure when the dragon ended.
No, he didn't play. Hang on.
Oh.
There he goes. He played.
All right.
For some reason, it wouldn't play. Silly thing.
I do like Dobby. I've been using it in the sites that my sites that I've been working on because I just like it. I'm a total Harry Potter fan, though. So.
Yeah.
All right, this last one I have is Snow in My Web. This is just a fun freebie plugin, super lightweight. It creates a beautiful snowy background, and all it does is add a little CSS, which is very easy to remove.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's very easy, very lightweight, very awesome. Works well. I rate it at 5 dragons.
Excellent. Maybe that's to blame for the snow that arrived this last day. It's all your fault for testing out this plugin.
You know, I hadn't thought of that, but now that I think about it, there was no snow when I was testing out plugins. And now there is. Maybe it is that.
Maybe it is, man. The AI went, oh, they want snow there. All right, so the AI for WordPress called up the AI for the weather control service and went, okay, we need snow there. What the hell? It sounds cool. At any rate.
Yeah, it could work.
It works. Anything can work. All right. Let's wander down through a few other things. You know, we do have sections here, folks. If you want to send us listener feedback, audio questions, audio clips, listener questions, all of that stuff, we would love to hear from you. We haven't heard from anybody in quite some time. So, hey, feedback, you know. Help us improve the show. We've been trying to improve it really well for the last, year, trying to get it back on track from its complete sidetracking. And I think we've gotten it back on track to what it's supposed to be. But help us improve it, folks. Get some feedback to us. Point us in the right direction of stuff you want to hear about. Hey, right. Let's wander into our contest. Absolutely. Contest. We do have a current running contest. And as we like to mention from time to time, our contests are powered by the Simple Giveaways plugin, a really great plugin for running your own contests on your website. I've been using this plugin since it was brand new. I think it's about 4 or 5 years old now. And it keeps getting better and better. They keep improving it, adding more features to it. There's one feature I think I'm going to ask them to add to it. I'm not going to mention it right yet, but it's a really useful feature. At any rate, go check out Simple Giveaways plugin. But that's not what we're giving away. We are giving away a 1-year license for the Events Calendar Pro single domain valued at $99. And the Events Calendar is a very nice calendar plugin. I've been using this plugin since it was relatively brand new too, and I think they're close to 10 years old, give or take. They've been around for quite some time. They've made lots of improvements to it. They're about ready to drop a major improvement to this. And if you want to find out all about that, go check out the interview I did with the Events Calendar person. And I don't have a link in the show notes for the interview, but you can find the interview on the front page of our website, I believe. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Jess Welbus from the Events Calendar is who I did the interview with. So go check out the interview and listen to the interview, and then come on back here and enter the contest to win your free license for the Events Calendar Pro. It's a really great plugin. Anyone who has a calendar of any sort on their website, they can benefit from this plugin. All right, let's see, what else do we got? That's it. So let's cover up a quick few things and head into the Q&A segment. Plugins I covered on this show were Code Snippets, which I gave a 5 to, Blackhole for bad bots, which I gave a 5 to, and then Dobby, which I gave a 5 to.
And I covered Snow in My Web, which I rated at 5, MySchedulr, which I rated at 4, and Interactive Geo Maps, which I rated at 5. I really like that map one.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I did have fun, and it was a fun interview to do. I had fun doing the interview with him. Speaking of that interview, also, folks, a little tidbit. We actually went on a discussion with him in the interview about a freemium model for plugins and how he runs a freemium, how it is running a freemium model business. So it was kind of a little bit more into the interview than usual.
Nice.
All right. couple of quick notices. One, there is a meetup that is coming. It'll be coming sometime around summer solstice, around June 21st. I'm planning to do it. By then, I'll have my deck cleared. It's going to be held at the Oasis, and the specific details about RSVPing for it will be coming. So that is coming down the pike. If you would like to be in an interview show, you're a developer, know a developer, you got some information about WordPress you need to share with the world, hey, reach out to me at wppluginsa2z.com/interview, and we will get you on an interview show. All right, and if you have suggestions for plugins, reviews, anything like that, please send them to us at wppluginsa2z.com/submitpluginreview. Okay, that wraps all that up, so it is time for us.
It's question and answer time.
With Amber.
Hey, I actually heard that one.
Good. It's just the dragon you can't hear. That's really weird.
I know. So before I get started, if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca and we'll get them in here. Or secondary option is ask them in the chat while we're live and I'll bring them in. For instance, Henry was just saying something interesting. He said, my site host has been grumpy lately because of resources my site uses. When I looked, it's usually very low except at random times or random days when it faults, which I'd moved with WPS hide login. So he just wanted to be reminded that everybody maintain and update their firewalls. So that is still something he's tweaking. But if you have a question or if you want to add to the show, you can also just come on and be live and add whatever you have to say. 9 times out of 10, my dad or I will catch it and we'll get into the show.
Yeah, he had a little bit more there. He's using Cloudflare for catching, but now he's activated a firewall option. My suggestion is change host to somebody who doesn't freak out about site resource usages, such as johnoverall.com.
I agree with that.
That's my suggestion for it. But site resource usages, they will spike randomly. And some hosts really get upset over it because of the simple fact that they are running hundreds or thousands of websites on one server. And if one site spikes, all the other websites are impacted, which is why I limit the number of websites per server to pretty much 100. I cap my servers at about 100 websites, so everybody can use all the resources they need, even during unusual spikes. And if I catch an unusual spike on one of my servers, it's usually because of a bot attack, and I shut that down really quick. You know, I'm not a massive provider. I'm a little boutique, so I can actually manage things a little bit better than the massive providers because they just can't monitor. They've got hundreds of servers and tens of thousands of clients, so it's really hard for them to manage it all.
Kind of makes me think of an overpacked elevator.
Yep, pretty much. That's pretty much what a good way to look at it. All right, on to your questions.
My first question today is, are there any particular viruses or malware or anything that one should keep an eye on when running an internet business? Like something that people should just keep an eye out for, signs of it, what have you? Okay.
Well, I was going to say all of them, but that last little bit is like signs of them. The signs of malware and other attacks is usually a massive spike in traffic for no apparent reason.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, somebody's got a semi-popular website and they happen to put out something that suddenly goes viral. That's a reasonable expectation for an increase in the spike in traffic. But if there's an increase in the spike in traffic to the site and there's no apparent reason, they haven't released some new information or some new tidbit or anything like that, and go look at the log files, you'll see it's all coming from specific IP addresses. And then you know it's an attack. It's an attack. The one nice thing is I've got a couple of levels of protection, like my data center I'm in, they monitor for bot attacks, and if they notice one, they hoover up all the traffic into their mitigation service and slow that traffic down until it goes away, because they're relatively short-lived, because the bots only attack until they're blocked, And then and you got to leave them blocked for a while so that they go away permanently. If you block them and then unblock them too fast, they'll just keep reattacking. The other one is I've got firewalls on my servers to help mitigate this stuff too. And then I recommend people have additional firewall stuff on their own website, and it can be Cloudflare or a firewall option, whichever one you want to use. All right. So yeah, it's like there's no particular way, no particular one to look for, and basically it's just kind of keeping an eye on your traffic and seeing what's happening to mitigate
Good to know.
hassles.
Okay, next question is, were you ever caught by a nasty virus when you first started in the industry?
Yeah, I wasn't really caught by a nasty one that wiped out my websites or servers, but back in the beginning when we didn't have as good a protection, there was, I can't remember, a Haxis something or another. He used to go around and he used to deface websites.
Fun.
Well, it's kind of like the old cookie virus. You know, give it a cookie and it goes away. Well, it'd come in and he'd deface it. He wouldn't damage the website. What he'd do is he'd replace the front page with his own front page that says you've been hacked or you've been pwned. You know.
Pwned. Jeez, get it right, Dad.
Pwned, man. You were pwned. It's pwned, man. You've been pwned. I don't care how you pronounce it. Anyway, yeah. I fortunately I never gotten that port, but knock on wood, because I don't want to invite anything from coming in. But for the most part, I've been pretty fortunate. There's been a few people out there that have been hacked in major ways, and it's a really continuous battle, though. It's an arms race, is what it is, between yourself and the hackers and the internet providers, the website, the server providers, the network providers, the router providers, and it's constantly going on. A lot of times.
What happened to our fun Loki hackers who just came in and pulled pranks and left?
Yeah, well, those ones are gone, man. Those guys have moved on to, well, I need to feed myself, so I may as well start, doing this hacking for real and stealing and selling data,
I miss the Loki hackers who would send you a free cup holder in your machine.
Yeah, that would force it to open up the CD player.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the fun days of the internet. That's the golden era of the internet, when people were still relatively human, and they played practical jokes. They didn't want to damage and destroy or steal and everything else. The practical joke days, the golden age of the internet. I miss the golden age of the internet.
Although I'll bet you that if somebody starts pulling practical jokes again, it'll probably pick up pretty fast.
No.
No?
Somebody would use the practical joke as a way to hack in another way.
Oh, that's sad.
You gotta remember that they don't think like that anymore.
Which is sad. Oh well.
It's the innocence of youth. You gotta remember, the internet. A lot of the people in the internet is like myself. I was in my 20s when I started in the internet. I'm now in my late 50s. A lot of people that started are now old cynical. They're old and cynical now.
Fair enough.
And the younger ones, all they see is the old and cynical, and so that's how they are. It's the way it is, unfortunately. This technology grew up, and it grew up unfortunately, a bad way. It grew up in a bad neighborhood. It grew up cranky. It's the reason for the podcast, the cranky old geeks, which is a really entertaining podcast.
I have one more question for you.
Okay. Let's read it out, and we'll close out the show. And for those of you listening to the podcast, you'll have to come back to YouTube for this answer.
What was the worst computer you ever had to fix? How long did it take, and what did you have to do in order to fix it?
Oh, that'll be entertaining. All right, let's let my girl take us on out of here, and we'll come back and answer that.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty, let's go take a look at this. Okay, what was the worst computer you had to fix? How long did it take, and what did you have to do in order to fix it? Turned it into a boat anchor and tossed it into the water. No. You're asking, it's a question that's like, there's no describing the worst computer. I mean, when I had my computer store, I'd get computers that were come in that were so infected with viruses that it would take days to get it cleaned up and fixed.
Well, what did you have to do in order to clean them up?
Well, back in those days, that was in the mid-2000s, early 2000s, between 2006 and 2009. We had some pretty good tools. I don't know what tools are available now for doing that, but we had some really good software scanner tools that would go through, find the viruses, wipe them out, clean them off the drives. The other thing is you have to sometimes you actually have to go manually through files looking for the viruses and delete them. Other times, there had been times where it was just so bad that there was no option but to try and recover the usable data that they wanted to keep, such as their photos, their music, any specific save files, their documents, etc., provided they weren't infected, and save those to a drive and then reformat the drive and start all over. Sometimes the only option is to reformat the hard drive and start all over again. And then make sure you have better security for the next time it occurs.
Makes sense.
It's like all you can do is, try to clean it up. And of course, the biggest thing is I don't think it was ever really a big virus problem that came in and shot everything up. The biggest problem was it was malware that came in and used your computer for sending emails or spam, which is what they do still more than anything else when they hack a website now. They turn it into a spam machine. They're not trying to destroy. They're trying to use your resources to continue their scams.
Yeah,
is what they're doing. And that's where they make their money, especially on small websites because there's no personal data to steal. The hacking that goes into the big corporate websites such as Visa, MasterCard, or the more recent one where they hacked the Give, Send, Go, they stole all the personal data. And they either use it for their nefarious use or they release it to the public to shame and blame people. So, and that's pretty much what a lot of the viruses and other things are used for now. It's like they've never really been about destroying systems. It's always been about trying to get information or use your resources to continue their scam.
Amnian said, nuke from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, that's the other one, nuke from orbit. I've had a couple of times where I've pretty much just nuked it from orbit and wandered off. because it happens. It's just the way the system is sometimes. And all you can do is try to put up your protective walls, build your moats, build your drawbridges, put some archers on the parapets, and pick them off as they come across, and have your flaming pitch and your boiling oil and all that stuff to protect your castle. You got to build your walls. Build your walls, and you build your moats, and you try to protect your castle. And the problem is they want to find ways into your castle, and there's always a way. It's just, can they find it? I mean, they're constantly finding new ways to do this shit.
If they can think like ants or cockroaches, those guys seem to be like complete geniuses when it comes to getting into places they shouldn't be in.
Well, that's because they find little holes. And that's the problem, is the holes exist. In all software, there is a hole. Every piece of software out there, there's a hole.
Hence the layering.
Hence the layering, but hence, a lot of times they don't know the hole exists. And to this day, there's still occasionally a 0-day flaw discovered. There's still 0-day flaws discovered.
Oh, yeah.
And, and for those that don't know, anyone who doesn't know, 0-day means that flaw was put in the very day that software was written. And that software could be 10, 20 years old. And nobody ever noticed that flaw, or basically somebody came along with a brain that thoughts in a completely different way. And they went, what happens if I do this? Or it's like playing a video game and you accidentally hit a button, your kid bumps your arm, you hit a button, and suddenly you do something cool and go, whoa. And you realize the little mechanism you just did to do that, and all of a sudden you figure out how to recreate it. And you found a glitch or a flaw in the game that you can then you can use it to do bad shit, or to your advantage somehow. So that's exactly what happens with software. It's just a matter of the right brain might not be born yet to find that flaw, or it might be just coming into development at 12 years old. And 12-year-old brains, we know that those kids don't think normally.
No, they don't.
So it's.
Amdian said, I found phishing sites buried inside legit sites. Mm-hmm. Recently, I almost fell for a NetCell login verifier page hidden in the fonts folder of someone else's WP site.
Yep. That has occurred. That occurred to me once, where they managed to hack my site and stick a phishing site inside my site. That happened to me once, and since then I try to keep my blocks up to prevent it. But that's one of the biggest reasons. That's the other reason they hack a website. They hack it to stick in subdirectories for their own phishing sites. And if you look at all those spam emails you get, such as my most favorite one now is the one I get that tells me my email is over quota. Please, click here to go in and fix that. And I look at it and say,
over quota?
Yeah, it means supposedly it means I can't receive any more emails on my email service. And it's like, I run my email server. I know what my email server is. I know I don't send out notices like that. And so I automatically know it's a spam. But when you mouse over the link in the email, you can see the web address that link is going to take you to. And you'll see that it goes to some poor person's email or website that has been hacked. Now, yeah. I don't often. Sometimes I'll reach out to the owner of the website and say, hey, look, your website's been hacked. Here's the file. They're subbing stuff. But sometimes it's not even a legitimate website. I mean, domains are cheap. Web hosting is cheap.
Yes, they are.
Web hosting is cheap. These guys will buy domains with fake names, set up a website in a fake name with a hosting provider, and set up all this scam stuff, and then run it until they get caught. When they get caught, there's no trails that lead back to them. It gets all shut down. They just go set up shop somewhere else. So it's a continuous scam. It's a continuous battle, and it's a continuous fight, and it's going to be never ending. Even when the AIs get released, you'll have good and bad AIs, I'm sure, and they'll be doing the same thing.
Probably.
Because AIs are designed by humans, which means they're going to get some of the human patterns in them. All right, well,
it'll be an epic battle in the future.
Yeah, it'll be an epic battle between the AIs, and the rest of us will just sit on the farm. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. That's all we got. I think we'll call it a show at that. Thanks for showing up, Hemdian. It was fun. Yeah, NetSol is the host of your non-WordPress website. Well, NetSol is okay for a hosting provider. I haven't had to deal with them for a few years now, so I don't know how they are these days. At any rate, let's call it quits at that. Let's have a little music to carry us on out of here. Thanks again for showing up, Hemdian.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
All righty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.